I'm sure you wouldn't believe me if I told you this was handmade, so I made a video to show you exactly how I did it. So back in 2018, I built this 3PO costume and wore it to my first ever Comic-Con and ended up winning a Judge's Choice Award. So a majority of the costume was made from cardboard, but one of the mistakes that I made was using acrylic filler to smooth out the texture of the cardboard, and then I used a rubber paint, which was really a mistake because the cardboard was not sealed or waterproof. So when I wore it for the first time, the sweat, I had it on 5 hours, the sweat just pulled the whole thing apart. So I had to take the time to rebuild it all, and I used fiberglass and a lot of resin, and it became extremely heavy, particularly when I started using Bondo to smooth out the surface so I could sand it down in preparation for paint. But at that point, I kind of lost interest for a while and I just threw it on the shelf for 5 years. But then I came back to it and started attacking it again, and I chopped it all up and resized the entire thing to make it fit me better. And then I started using some more modern techniques that I've adopted to really improve the structure of the torso. A lot of the heavy bulk was stripped out with an angle grinder, giving me a much more thin shell and made it much lighter and more wearable. And there was a lot of things that I did, including adding particular types of hardware to attach the two halves together. But getting it to the point where I could prime took me literally years. But then after a few test fittings, I had to add some new parts. I had to rebuild the neck a few times. But I have another 3PO torso which I was able to use to sort of get a lot of the aesthetics correct, which was really good to be able to have comparisons like that, because most of what I built originally was just from pictures and just eyeballing. But slowly over time I managed to get it all done. I got it sanded back and primed completely, and I was really happy with how it looked. There's a lot of details that I had wrong originally, so it was good to be able to have those sort of fixed up and made accurate. But I was extremely excited to be able to finally get this painted with a 2K gloss, and I spent days sanding and polishing, and it looks absolutely beautiful. But the most exciting thing is this chrome that I found at my local auto shop, because in Australia we don't have a lot of access to specialty paints, and to have this new paint available locally is just insane. And the results of this have really impressed me, because chroming, if you've ever tried, is a really difficult thing to achieve. Chrome paint's very difficult to use, and quite often when you clear coat them, they turn grey and completely loses the effect. And I've spent thousands of dollars and countless hours trying to achieve a good chrome, and now I've done it and I feel so accomplished. Like, I'm actually embarrassed to see how this started, but I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. But just, you know, being able to strip this back and actually make something usable from that piece of hot garbage is actually really impressive, and I'm really proud of myself that I stuck with this and I was able to produce this from nothing. I've been determined for nearly 8 years and I've finally achieved my goal.